basically do keyword rankings, right? He had an idea basically, if you have basically any 5 word keyword phrase, it must always be easy. That's not always the case. It always depends on who's competing against you, how popular words are, and a range of other factors. This is just a simple one I found for you, which is called "What is the best way to become a fast runner?" Now, I'll be fair, there's probably not going to be very many people who search for this. Because you can see there, even Google itself tells you there's no search volume it can provide. But we can still see things appear for this keyword in relationship to running and runners. So we can say within fairness, there must be some people who will type this in, which is what is the best way to become a fast runner. And to be fair, you will not make big giant money if you get first place for this keyword phrase. What you'll really get from this type of keyword is you get a bit of extra AdSense money, you get a bit more authority on your site, so when you're building your site up more later on, it becomes more easy for you to rank for it. Once you start to basically rank for long tail things, then you can start gradually moving on to shorter terms and more competitive. But when you've just got a site built, you're best to try, unless you know what you're doing, go for low competition keyword and keyword phrases to try and rank for. I'm just going to show you a few more examples to get a better idea. And something else I want to include as well you may not know. There's actually quite a lot of people who actually now, instead of actually typing into Google things like what is the best joiner, they can actually do this, which I find quite interesting. I'll just show you how it's done. I was born in Inverness, so my postcode area would have been IV30. Anyway, IV30. Because of where I live, Elgin could be technically classed. It's kind of Highlands, if you like, Highlands, because it's not technically the Highlands, but it's kind of like in the middle, since it's halfway between Inverness and also Aberdeen. You're kind of in a crossover area because you basically got Highlands, then you've got Murray, then you've got Grampian nearby. But what could we use this thing for if we're able to rank for IV30? It could mean, for example, we could have it so our site comes up first for anyone who types in IV30 into Google. And you may not believe this, but there's actually a growing amount of people who actually type into Google postcodes to actually find out a business they want nearby. People are, if you like, quite interested in the sense of always developing new ways to search and new ways to use Google. Google itself, I mean, to be fair, incredibly designed, but the way people are actually searching for things now is actually a lot more sophisticated than it used to be. Because, I mean, for example, I do this. This is no joke or lie. I know about a guy who typed this into Google. Who is the best doctor called Joe in New York City? Sorry. Who is the best doctor called Joe in New York? And you'll see here if a answer actually comes up. There's someone called Dr. Joseph Delio Ralso. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. People will basically type anything in the world into Google. There's not really any limit to how many words or what people will actually type into Google. That's what makes it kind of intriguing in a sense. You can, within reason, have a site about anything in the world and people will still find you one way or another. Because you may see here, just for example, another one, we got another guy comes up called Joseph T. Hoon. So in fairness, there is real people who actually do type into Google very long terms to try and find information. Because I heard about another one, and what he does is when he wants to find a doctor, what he does is he specifically picks a doctor in his area. He specifically finds one by finding out who's the most qualified or who's got most experience. It sounds a bit overkill, but it's people actually who really care about who they use for different jobs, and they'll actually type in a wide range of information to find out who's the best. They might type out, for example, if they say went to Oxford University, but one of the best in the UK, they might actually type in who qualified from there, how much awards that the doctors received. It will basically type in loads of different questions. You couldn't imagine how much research some people will put into anything from just using a doctor for a simple operation to using a joiner for a simple job. In a lot of cases they'll do big research into working out why this person's the best, what makes him or her the best. It sounds a bit overkill, and you may not believe it, but there's people who do this kind of stuff all the time. There's not really any limit to what people will type into Google, and Google itself will have an overall quite a good ability to actually produce the best results. You do sometimes, for example, get some words that obviously have different meanings attached. I mean, for example, the word dude, for example purposes, the word dude actually means a camel's hump. But over time, people basically just changed it. I think it was a skater group or surfers, I can't remember. But anyway, they basically changed it as dude, meaning from rather than camel's hump, dude actually means friend, or technically a male friend, because a woman version of dude is actually dudette. So technically, it's a male friend or a mate by saying dude, but the word itself actually means a camel's hump. And you can actually, with Google itself, because Google, if you like, has to try and work out what you specifically want the meaning of the word for, it is plausible that you can actually rank up in like 5 different forms for each key for a keyword in relationship to different things the word can mean. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen if you've got a good authority site and you basically provide lots of answers. Google itself can sometimes reward you with like a first place ranking for the keyword in many different ways. In the sense, it could be, for example, in the word of dude, if you rank for dude, you could be ranking in a friend sense. You could also be ranking in a camel sense. You could be ranking in a skater, surfer sense. There's not really any limit to how many different forms of ways you can rank using one keyword, because since basically our languages have developed in such a fancy and advanced way, many of us have all different meanings for all different words. Meaning every basic part of the UK, if you like, has its own different accents, own different way of talking, which will be slightly different. I mean, for example, where I was brought up in Inverness, we say right enough, which means good or all right. That's just how we talk. I don't know. There's not really anyone else in the UK that says that, but that's just how we talk. The same as in Glasgow, when people say something's great, they say pure mental man, which translates as that's good or that's wonderful or interesting. That's just how we talk. But within reason, you could, if you wanted to, be able to actually rank for unique ways people actually talk. So then you could have like a local themed site which basically covers specific people from a specific part of your country or whichever area you want to target. It's just things for you to think about. Anyway, hope this helps you in keyword research and also general things you may not know about